My name's Daniel Granger, and if you'd told me a year ago that I'd be standing in the middle of a Colorado valley with a gun pointed at my chest, facing off against a woman in designer heels and a smug grin, I would have laughed you out of the room. But that's exactly where I found myself, staring down Veronica Holston, HOA president, luxury developer, and suburban tyrant. "This land is mine now," she sneered, her pearl necklace glinting in the sun. "Sign the papers, or your family's name dies with you." She thought she was winning. She didn't know I'd already flipped the entire game board on her. 8 months earlier, I wasn't even a rancher. I was a burned-out software guy living in Denver, juggling deadlines and eating Chinese takeout over my keyboard. Then my parents died suddenly in a car accident. Their will left me the Granger Ranch, 150 acres in the foothills, land my great-grandfather Amos carved out with his own hands after the Civil War. At first, I'd told myself I'd fix the place up and sell, but when I stepped on that porch, smelled the pine, heard cattle lowing in the fields, I felt something click deep in my bones. This is who I am. This is home. I had help. Hank, our foreman, had been working the ranch since before I was born. Julie Monroe, my widowed neighbor, showed up with her 2 kids and a pot of chili the night I moved in. She said, "This land makes you earn its trust, but once it does, it'll fight for you." I didn't know what she meant. Yet. Then Veronica arrived. Her black Mercedes SUV crunched up my gravel drive like she owned the place. Out stepped a woman who looked more country club than country. Platinum hair, oversized sunglasses, clipboard clutched like a weapon. "I'm Veronica Holston, president of Silvergate Bluffs HOA," she said, smiling like she was about to evict me from my own porch. "We've had complaints about the smell." She wrinkled her nose toward my cattle. "This is a working ranch," I told her flatly. "I'm not in your HOA." Her lips curled. "We have ways of encouraging cooperation." I thought she was bluffing. She wasn't. The first notice came the next week. Unauthorized business activity, $500 fine. Then another, unapproved structures. Then one that actually made me laugh out loud, excessive rooster noise. When I ignored them, things escalated. My irrigation shut down mysteriously. Surveyors with neon flags appeared on my pasture without permission. One night, my south gate was left open and half my herd ended up on the highway. Julie shook her head. "They're not just being petty. They want you gone." Turns out she was right. I did some digging. Veronica's husband, Dale Holston, ran a development firm. Their plan? Build Silvergate Ridge, a luxury resort sprawling across the valley. My ranch was the last obstacle. They weren't trying to find me. They were trying to steal me out. The war escalated. Someone torched my barn. Security cameras went dark at the exact moment the fire started. A threatening note appeared in my mailbox. "Sell now or else." That's when I decided to stop playing defense. I called my old college buddy, Nate, now a real estate art dealer. He dug into records and found something incredible. Not only was my ranch safe from HOA jurisdiction, but Silvergate HOA was drowning in debt. Bank loans, contractor liens, and Dell had been funneling HOA dues into shell companies. Then came the break I needed. Veronica's own son, Eli, showed up at a diner 2 towns over. Nervous kid, beat-up Honda, but honest eyes. "They've done this before. Bullied people off their land, bought cheap, sold high. But there's something you should see." He slid me a USB drive. Inside were emails, contracts, and a copy of an old covenant. My great-grandfather Amos had placed a clause on part of Silvergate's land before he sold it decades ago. The clause gave the Granger family first right of refusal on any commercial development at the original market price. It was my ace. While they were busy bullying, I made my move. Using Uncle Frank's military pension fund and Nate's legal wizardry, I bought out Silvergate HOA's outstanding debt. Overnight, I went from enemy to creditor. At the next HOA meeting, I walked in uninvited. Veronica's smirk froze when she saw the paperwork in my hand. "This is a private meeting," she snapped. "Not anymore. I own your debt, which means I own you." The room erupted. Homeowners demanded answers. Why had dues tripled? Why were contracts only going to Dale's companies? Why was their HOA spending thousands on Veronica's landscaping? Her empire cracked right there, but she wasn't done. The night she pulled the gun was her last card. "You'll never win," she spat, finger trembling on the trigger. "Sign the land over, or I'll—" But before she could finish, headlights swept the pasture. SUVs, agents from the state attorney general's office, tipped off by the mountain of evidence Eli and I had gathered, emails, contracts, and video of Veronica dumping toxic waste into the stream. Red and blue lights bathed her in color. She lowered the gun slowly, realizing it was over. She was arrested on the spot. Charges: fraud, conspiracy, environmental crimes, aggravated assault. Dale followed days later. The mayor who rubber-stamped their deals resigned in disgrace. Months later, Granger Ranch was stronger than ever, declared a historical landmark. Julie and I, we married under the cottonwoods by the creek. Eli started his own sustainable design firm, using his father's downfall as fuel to build something better. Every fall, we host the Granger Harvest Festival. Neighbors, families, kids running free through fields that nearly got paved over. And sometimes, when I stand on the porch with a cup of coffee, I think about Veronica pointing that gun at me, convinced she'd already won. She never understood. This land isn't just dirt. It's blood, sweat, history. It remembers who fights for it, and that's why it's still here.